Okay, you're looking live with Matt DiBenedetto, driver of that number 21 Menards Dutch Point for the Wood Brothers. And we're going to open it straight up to questions, Matt. And our first question is going to come from Bob Pockers. Go ahead with your question, Bob.
Yeah, Matt, are the nerves and the feeling going into this weekend similar as Daytona or different from Daytona? And if so, why?
No, I'd say different than Daytona. I think this is still Daytona was, that was really our primary number one goal of the season was we got to make the playoffs, and then everything after that is opportunity. And so that was extremely stressful and something I don't want to go through again. This is still, this first round of the playoffs, man, our first two races have been terrible. And things haven't fallen our way too. Darlington was just tough. Richmond, we just didn't have opportunity to recover because of no caution. So going into Bristol this weekend, kind of being in a hole, I still look at it as opportunity going to my personal favorite racetrack, track where I know that we can perform really well at. And yeah, so it's pressure for sure, but I still look at it as opportunity for us, and I wouldn't there's no other track that I would choose other than Bristol to be in this situation and to go out there and have to perform at our very highest.
What's your biggest concern for Saturday? I would think maybe it is trying to do too much too soon.
I don't know. I guess I don't really have any major concerns. It might be a boring answer, but no, I think everything is mostly just looking at our team and making sure to do the best job possible. As far as I know, my ability behind the wheel and driving Bristol, I think we all know that. I love that place. Take well to it. It's my favorite. But what I look at is I wouldn't call it concerns, but the things that I look at and put the most emphasis on is my communication with the team, us making the right adjustments, calls throughout the race, because that's going to be everything, us doing a good job on pit road, not only the pit crew, but myself also, because it's kind of a tricky pit road. So maximizing your in and out, because every single spot, gained or lost will dictate the outcome, of your race. So I would say I wouldn't call them concerns, but those would be my what I'm looking at the most going into Bristol. That's going to be the biggest player into us, really preferably having a shot to win the race.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead with your question, Dustin.
Yeah, Matt, had a couple things. One thing is Ryan Blaney talked to us earlier today, and his comment was, I'm not going to be behind people very long if we're faster than them, so just be warned. Do you have to – there's a level of aggression, but do you have to make yourself more aggressive in this type of situation? How does one turn that on and off?
Yes, I would say we do have to be more aggressive in this situation, knowing, what's on the line and what we need, and that we have to perform at the very highest and really – for the most part, it's not necessarily a must win, but we really probably need to go out there and win the race. So, and it's our best shot, I would say, all year. So, to answer your question, it's a little bit, maybe to a slightly lesser extent, but very similar to how I approached the open race when we were trying to make it in the All-Star. We got damaged early, had to go to the back, and we drove from the back to the front and won the open. It took us a little bit, but I was impatient going through the field, and I knew I had to be. And it's kind of that same case of if I would reiterate what Blaney said, if you're faster than the people in front of you, you just can't sit. You're not going to be crashing people and doing anything stupid, but you can't sit and wait behind them. I was very aggressive getting through the field at the open. I did have to bump a couple people out of the way. It was some aggressive driving, not dirty driving, but it was aggressive to get through the field because you don't have time to waste at a track like Bristol, where every single lap, every bit of your position, everything is setting you up for the end of the race. Every stage point matters, all that. So, no, we're definitely going to have to get all we can get.
And I know that the interpretation will differ from person to person, but when you talk about the difference between aggressive driving and dirty driving, you may do something to me and you may think it's aggressive. I may think it's dirty. I understand that. But how do you define those two in your mind, and where is that line per se when you talk about aggressive driving?
I think it's always kind of a little bit of a moving target, just depending on the situations. Some of the moves that I made in the open race were aggressive to get through the field, and everything's on the line, and you're trying to make the all-star race, and it's a very short race, all that. Some of the moves that I made in the open race, if it were a regular points race and we're at the beginning of the race or something, some of those moves would probably at that time were just considered aggressive because everyone knows what we're doing and what's at stake. In other situations, they could have been dirty because I moved some people out of the way. So that's a little bit of a moving target. So it's hard to answer that question. But I would say, for this weekend, everyone usually knows what's on the line for different people. Everybody pays attention. So, as long as you're not out there crashing people or just sending them right out of the way in the first corner that you get to them or any nonsense like that. If you're knocking on somebody's door or you have a little position and you have to, get to their bumper or give them a little nudge or whatever, it's really whatever you have to do, and it'll be a little bit of a moving target as to how aggressive you be based on the situation. If it's real early in a run, or if you just got to the guy's bumper, or if you've been stuck behind this guy for 4 laps, and you're faster, then you just can't waste any more time. It's a little bit of a moving target as to how aggressive that you are with people.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question will come from Mark Garrow. Go ahead with the question, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us today, Matt. How disappointed are you to be in this position? You're on the high of making the playoff. You go in with, expectations as high as they can be, and now, you're up against the wall.
Yeah, we've dug ourselves a hole for sure. It's not optimal. I mean, as competitors, yeah, that's frustrating for sure for Blaney and I, but it's just, it shows how tough the playoffs are and how crucial every single race is. You just can't have a couple of bomb races, and it just makes it really hard to recover. Not that it's impossible for sure. So I would look at it. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, but also we still have opportunity, and I still look at it as we're going to my favorite racetrack in Bristol, and we still have opportunity. So I definitely haven't given up, or I'm not, that level of frustrated. I'm bummed about the first 2 races, but I can't sit and we can't sit and dwell upon those races there. So, yeah, and I mean, as much as I could say I'm happy we made the playoffs, I am. I know the team was happy, but you instantly, as a competitor, you turn the page the next day, and you're like, all right, now how do we make the next round? So, yeah, we as drivers and competitors are never going to be satisfied unless we win the championship, probably.
And I don't mean to, be the Debbie Downer or whatever, but if you don't make it, how disappointed would you be not to make it to the second round?
I don't know. I think I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, I wouldn't be satisfied. I mean, I'm glad we made the playoffs and all that, but it's never enough. There've been a lot of variables that 2020's thrown at us. We still have just barely scratched the surface as far as our 21 team. I think we have a long ways to go as far as progression. Hopefully we build this team together for a long time to come, because we're barely getting started, and 2020 obviously has been quite crazy. So I got to keep it in perspective. I can't be, I couldn't be too disappointed, but if we miss it, but I still look at it as a lot of opportunity for us this weekend to redeem ourselves, and knowing, I think the part that would be a little disappointing is knowing that through the midpoint in the season, we had speed like crazy every single week. I was driving up in the top 5 and top 10 every week. And so it's like, man, if we make the playoffs, I really know we can make a good splash. And then we start the playoffs and we have 2 bad weeks. So I just, I know that we have the speed and the ability as a team to perform a lot better, but hey, that's part of the structure, and you got to be perfect every week.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Our next question is going to come from Kelvin LaPierre. Go ahead with your question, Kelvin.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Matt, for taking some time out today. Just had a question for you. last night on SiriusXM, you were the #1 driver trending for the silly season moves that could be happening. Going into Bristol, your confidence has to be pretty high, being a track that you're comfortable racing at. How do you think this race will affect what happens for you in 2021 contract-wise?
I mean, I sure hope it doesn't come down to just one race. As far as my contract stuff for next year, it's I said it before. It was when I came over here, there's a lot of people involved, so it's a dream come true driving for the Wood brothers. They're not the only ones involved. We have a strong alliance with Team Penske, big relationship with Ford. So there's a lot of folks involved in this and in the decision making. So, but they heavily expressed they wanted this to be a multi-year, it was a multi-year opportunity as far as my contract. They heavily expressed they wanted this to be a long-term relationship, something that we built, for a long time to come, all those things. So that was, very encouraging when I came over here. I do not want to go anywhere. I love driving for the Wood brothers. It's a dream come true. They are family. And, as far as my contract stuff, it has options for, I think, 2021, 22, and 23, if I'm not mistaken. But so it's a multi-year deal opportunity, but the team has to pick it up each year. And the deadline for that is at the end of this month. So I guess I should know pretty soon. I wish I knew now, because I don't want to go anywhere. And it would put me in a pretty bad situation if something were to change, but I don't foresee, I don't expect any changes, but I, just waiting here. So hopefully it works out. Hopefully I'm not going anywhere. I love being driving for our team.
Our next question is going to come from Eric Smith. Go ahead with your question, Eric.
Yeah, Matt, thanks for joining us. I'm just curious unfortunately, you're starting last among the playoff drivers on Saturday night. How do you balance the aggression early? I know it's probably a tough track to get the setup right with, as Kurt was saying, he used to go lap 250 on, but now you kind of have to hit it out of the gates. You don't have any practice. How difficult is it at the start of the race to land this thing right?
Man, it's been 2020's been really challenging for a lot of people. I mean, even look at, not to pick on anybody or point out anyone, but, Kyle Busch and, guys that different teams or guys that have maybe excelled or some that have had some, advantages or things taken away from them. It just, man, it's tough because you got to hope that your starting setup's close, which the teams do a great job. But you really got to, hope that you start close. And to answer your question, your race is so important from lap 1, because you think about it. I'll give Richmond as an example. We started Richmond. We were tight. We were a little off because no practice. If we had practice, this wouldn't have even been an issue. We would have been fast and competitive and ran great. But we start the race. We're too tight. We got to work on it. There's no cautions. We're behind the 8 ball. We get trapped a lap down. We get our car better, where we're like, oh man, we're pretty fast now. We're a decent car, probably a top 10, top 12 car, could have a decent day. And you're just stuck in the lucky dog position for an hour and you can't recover. So your race from the very beginning is that important, even though it's a 500 lap race at Bristol. From the drop of the rag, it is really, really important. Every move you make, every position you can get, staying up front, staying competitive. That's the only way you can position yourself for the win, to the end. So it's going to be very important from the start of the race that we hopefully have the setup close, which I feel pretty confident in. This is our 3rd time driving around Bristol this year, so I feel good about that. Our cars are fast. We won the open race. So, I mean, I have a lot of great things that give me a lot of confidence, but we have to be really good from start to finish that 500 lap race.
And how's your communication with your crew chief? I know the Penske guys, they talk all this changes. It took them a while to get the lingo and what each other needed. Do you feel comfortable that both sides, you guys have learned each other enough now to get the changes that you need potentially on Saturday night?
Yeah. No, I mean, Greg Irwin's a great guy and we've worked together well. And, this year's made it tougher on a new group working together and figuring each other out, because there are a lot of things that we had learned and figured out with each other and our communication and stuff in practice to be a lot better. versus having to do things in the race and figure it out. And so it's just been, 2020 is the way it's been. It's just made it so much tougher. So we haven't maximized some races just because of having to learn together and these crazy circumstances that we're not accustomed to being thrown at us. But no, we work together well. It's gotten better and better throughout the course of the season for sure, and continues to get better. So if we're in a must-win type situation or close to it, I wouldn't choose any other time than now. We are definitely most prepared, and I wouldn't choose any other track than Bristol.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck this weekend, man.
Thanks.
Our final question, Matt's going to come from Casey Campbell. Go ahead with the question, Casey.
Matt, how are you?
Good, Casey. How's it going?
It's going, man. So just what do you like about what with you in Bristol? It seems like some of the best moments of your career happened at that racetrack. What just got you and Bristol to mesh together? Just talk about that.
Yeah, I've kind of asked the same thing to myself a lot. It's funny. I think, Bristol just is, I don't know, it's not, I don't want to say it's an equalizer. Your equipment's so important everywhere. But it's just one of those racetracks where you're really hustling the race car, and kind of the older school principles matter the most, like just having good grip and a good balanced handling race car. And you're hustling the car around the racetrack a lot, which is good. I guess it suits my style. A place where you really have to drive super hard from start to finish the run. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty good at all kinds of different racetracks. But if I were choosing places that I love, Martinsville, Bristol, I love both of them a ton. And I would say the thing they have in common is that you're hustling both of those types of racetracks, and you're just driving it really hard and you're up on the wheel. It's very opposite of a place like Richmond, which I've run well at, but Richmond is just, it's a short track, but it's very slow feeling. Every movement you do is very slow, very easy on the throttle. Bristol, you're attacking the corners really hard, and it's just the most fun short track to go to. So it's a place I've taken well to, and I think I know what I need there very well. Also, to be good, in the race, I know exactly what my car needs. Just a place that I have a lot of confidence at, and it is a bit of a special place to me, and has been to my career.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, Casey.
Well, Matt, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Good luck this weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway, and good luck in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Good deal. Take care.